Welcome back to another Blades of Deceron devlog, a medieval fantasy fighting game that now finally includes bows, so you can roleplay as Robin Hood, assuming this is what Robin Hood was known for. I'm not that familiar with the story. I have now created ranged units for the 4 major factions, including dedicated skirmishers that use javelins and war darts. During big battles, they will stay back and throw their missiles from afar, which will soften up enemies for your regular infantry units to finish off. There's definitely an optimal percentage of skirmishers and ranged units to include in your army, so let me know what you think of them in a comment below. There are a lot of big features this game needs, but I just want to show some of the small changes that I've made. You can now view other characters' units in the interaction menu. The chance of seeing which the units are depends on your intelligence attribute. Speaking of attributes, I've reworked the skills menu and included this explanation section to the right to better communicate what attributes and skills actually do. I'm still not entirely happy with it, but I guess it's better than before. Then I've made a pop-up menu to specify which unit in your retinue you want to use a potion on. So because of this, potions now only affect one unit and not the whole retinue as was the case before. This same menu is also used when you visit a surgeon, and it will most likely be used for other things in the future that will require you to select one or several units from your retinue. Alright, so I want to create a My Faction menu, and I actually wanted to replace the current menu that shows all of the game's faction stats, because I don't really like that it's here. Instead, I'll move it inside the developer menu, since it was anyway mostly meant for me to use for debugging. Now, the My Faction menu needs to contain a place for the player to see all of his units, where those units are currently located and what their orders are. This is also where you can issue new orders, view the retinue troops, and maybe also disband the entire party. So if you created your own faction in the game before, you'll know that the main feature of interest here is probably issuing orders. And in order for that to work, I first had to make it so that the units can save their current state, as well as a backup state that they can resume once they're done with temporary actions such as attacking or fleeing. Otherwise, players' orders would have been constantly lost when units react to enemies, and not to mention when the player reloads a save. In addition to saving the unit states, there were an absurd amount of other small changes to the code that I needed to do, and because of that, it took a few weeks to finish all of this. But now, you can give orders to your units from this menu here, and it will cost a bit of power to do so, which finally gives the power currency a reason to exist. One new behavior I added to the AI is for them to escort and essentially follow another unit around. So you can order everyone to escort your player character if you want to create a massive wandering army. And once I add reinforcement to battles, this will make a lot more sense, since other units will join and fight alongside you against any enemies that you attack or are attacked by. Now there's also a menu where you can see your settlements, and I'm gonna add more to it in the future, but because, as I mentioned, unit orders took so long to implement, I've decided to delay managing settlements for now, as well as delaying creating custom units, which was the feature that won the most recent Discord poll. Instead, I'll be adding some of the content that artists have been busy creating for the past 2 months, and some old art that I've dug up from years ago that I think is still pretty cool. But of course, not as cool as my Patreon and YouTube members, whom I'd like to thank for supporting the channel and participating in Gladiatrons, our community gladiator game. Follow the links in the description to join and get your own character featured in my devlogs. Alright, so many of the old bandit factions now have their unique equipment, as well as the 3 new minor factions that I mentioned in the last devlog. All factions now also have leaders and their own units, and in terms of faction content, the only thing that's really missing are the unique characters such as lords and other notables. On the subject of units, another thing I want to do is to create a battle report screen that displays stats for everyone who participated in the battle, because currently there's still this remnant of a stats screen from when the game was 1v1 fights only, and it doesn't make sense anymore. So once again, I will look to Mountain Blade for inspiration. And after another week or so of work, I made my own simplified version of it, plus added some more juicy details to the other menus, and this is how it currently looks in the game when a battle ends. I keep repeating this, but there is still so much left to add, and a lot of features still need to be finished, like this audience system that I've created for the backgrounds. I can specify the audience density so that the more progress you make in an arena tournament, for example, the more spectators will be watching your fights. I plan to add spectators to battles and activities in other locations as well in the future, but for now I've updated the game on both Android and iOS. You can find the links in the description. I hope you'll stick around for future content since there's a lot more to come. Don't forget to join our Discord over at discord.gg/dreamon. Thank you so much for watching and bye bye.